Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shoot from the Hoop, where we discuss all things FITASC and Sporting Clays. My name is Jeff Jensen. I am the host of the podcast, and I am super excited today. I'm bringing in a good friend and very familiar to all of you in the Sporting Clays community. Tim Miles, welcome to Shoot from the Hoop.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys doing this. Anything that we can do to promote the sport and get it off to everybody that has a opportunity to shoot a shotgun is a big deal. And we appreciate this podcast very much, just like all the rest.
Thank you, Tim. Well, what I wanted to do is a preview for the big Western Regional Tournament at Coyote Springs Sporting Clays. That's coming up in the third week in March. And, you know, I've as a way to kick it off, I wanted to kind of reference that book by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the second habit is start with the end in mind. And when I think about your shoots, I always kind of think that you do start with the end in mind. So Tim, to kind of kick it off a little bit different than other podcasts, at the end of the shoot, let's say on Sunday afternoon at the end of March, what would you constitute a successful shoot? What qualities?
That's a great question, Jeff. I would say that you are correct. We do look at our basically our planning and what is it going to produce? What is the actual outcome? So first and foremost, I would say that we would like everyone to say they had a good time, which is enjoyable. The grounds were kept as they should, spotless, neat, welcoming for people. Registration was flawless. Targets were outstanding, or even wowing, if you will, at times. We're kind of into that. I think the big thing that we all have in common is we are absolutely sick with this game. And what I mean by that is we are complete addicts of shooting shotguns and breaking clay targets. So it doesn't change from the management side or the gun range side. I think at the end of the day, we specifically want everybody to come and enjoy our little playground, if you will. And believe it or not, that's how this started. It started as a playground for myself, my friends, my family, my kids, and I was hoping that my kids would gravitate to it. And I've been blessed beyond measure when it comes to that. There's no question. So I'd say first and foremost, enjoyable, good, clean place. Registration was absolutely flawless, ran by obviously Joey and Melissa Wright, along with Casey Chase and Score Chaser. They do a fabulous job. And this stuff doesn't start, at the day the shoot begins, right? This is a year of planning. I'm not that guy that calls them every week for a year. I set up the group prior, probably 12 to 15 months out, depending on how much time we have. And then I leave them alone because they're the A team. They've worked with me for as much as 15 years and as little as probably 6, but they all know what their job is. They're all very good at their job and they're professionals. So I would say I leave them alone right up to about somewhere between 59 and 60 days from the time we kick off. And then, I've been on the phone with them for the last 6 days. So we're doing well. So my starting from the end, and then as you go through it, that you enjoyed every rotation. There were no substantial breakdowns. The guys did a good job. We were prepped and prepared before you ever got here, and it goes on seamlessly, and you enjoy every minute that you're here. I would say that's what I would love to hear at the end.
Oh, I love that. And you're no stranger to big shoots. I mean, just 2 years ago, you hosted the U.S. Open there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was our second one. Yeah, we had one in 2018 and one in 2023. Yeah.
So I'm starting to date myself here, maybe both of us, but I remember when I was at Coyote Springs in 2008, it was my first big shoot, and it was a zone shoot back then. How did it transition from a zone shoot to a regional?
Interesting question. I'm going to give you a little history then. There were a few guys on the EC. Back in 2008 is when we kind of went in, and at that time the national championship was approximately 700 people, And there was a group of us that said, hey, I think we need to get a hold of this NSCA thing and see if we can't grow it. And those big players were Steve Schultz, Scott Robertson, myself, Johnny Meitzen, Phil Murray, and Brent Fleming, and Joe Kennedy. Those were the guys, and I hope I didn't leave anybody out. And basically what happened is we had lots of conversations over a couple years, and then we all ran for the EC, and we happened to all be elected to the EC. And I will give it to Scott Robertson. Scott Robertson's a visionary. A lot like I deal with a guy in the Northeast called Paul Mahalides, who runs the preserve. And this man, he sees things that just absolutely melt your mind. And he's a really cool dude. Well, Scott is a lot like that. In fact, Scott will argue with you to make sure that you are absolutely committed to what you're saying. And he will do everything he can do to upset you to make sure you're committed. So all of that transformation turned into what can we do to make these zones different and make them better. And that's where the regions came up, because we had too many zones, right? We had 7 zones at the time, and we ended up going to 5 regions. And I think it was a huge move, because we took 700 people at the Nationals to almost 2,700 today. And that's from basically 2009 to date. So not that long ago.
Not long ago at all. Tim, I noticed, I'm just shifting gears on you a little bit. I noticed I was on the website, right? And I don't get on the website all the time because I'm down there shooting with you guys. And we had a great tournament this past weekend, a 200 target event, super sporting and main event on Sunday, the Tucson 200. The grounds are amazing. And there's multiple courses with phenomenal targets right now. I can tell you're kind of prepping, getting ready for all this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we keep 5 courses open all the time. We'll open up 2 more courses for the regional, a practice course, and then the sub-gauge courses, and then FITASC will be separate. But yeah, we're always improving. We've been keeping it a secret because we really didn't want we didn't want to see it go over 1,200 or 1,300 people, because that's a lot. So we're roughing around 700. So for the last push, I will tell you that all the courses have shaded covers on them now. You probably saw that. Nobody knows that. That's all new this last summer. Pretty cool. So shade on every station, which is kind of cool.
And welcome in the Arizona sun, I might add.
Yeah, the only problem is, the winter guys are getting a little pissed off. They don't get as much vitamin D as they did previous, because it's all shade now. It's kind of interesting.
Unintended consequences, Tim, to everything. Consequences. So hey, I have a question for you on the website, and I thought this was fabulous. Looking at Coyote Springs, it says targets with attitude, and I thought that was really cool. And you talked about spicy targets. I can't remember the exact term you used, but let's talk about target setting. We've got so many different events, and there's so many different ranges of shooters, from C class, B class, pro level shooters. How do you make everybody happy, Tim?
Yeah, I think that's a testament to your craft and you taking the time to build your craft. For me, my philosophy is fourfold. First and foremost, you have to be safe. That's the big thing. Number 1, safety. Number 2, you have to entertain the shooter. Right? And then number 3 is everybody gets a fair go. What does that mean? Everybody gets a fair go from, like, say, for instance, I've got a 6-year-old grandson that is shooting. May not shoot this shoot, may shoot this shoot, but still, from 6 years old all the way to the oldest guy out there is probably 100. And we want to make sure everybody gets a fair go. And then the 4th thing is we must challenge them. But my opinion is if you do the first 3 correctly, the challenge is built in. So let's be safe. Let's entertain everyone. Let's give everybody a fair go, and let's challenge them. And so some guys will say, well, why do you have to do this challenge thing? And I said, well, you don't want to disrespect people. And I would say 85 to 95% of all the people that shoot this game are A-type personalities. And you'll hear that, if you will, I would call them the anomaly. The guy goes, "Oh, I shoot for fun." And my statement is always, "Why do you keep score?" And so I think the way that you balance all that is you understand that the shooter is to be respected, the grounds are supposed to be respected, and the game itself is supposed to be respected. So if you gather all that together, I believe that if you do everything within here in the desert, anyhow, not everywhere in the country, but here in the desert, 20 yards to 55 yards, with as much of the profile as you can throw. So 100% being profile, which would be 100% of the target, which would either be dome or belly. I believe you don't throw anything less than 50%. That's just me. Now, if it happens to go to edge at 80 yards, you should have probably shot it inside that 20 to 50 yard line. So anyway, I think you balance it by using the environment. I think you balance it by throwing things that are not repetitive and they're different from station to station. I would, and I've said this on a couple other podcasts, but back in the day when I started, I was fortunate enough to meet a guy named Roger Silcox. Roger Silcox, I was introduced to Roger by Steve Schultz, and we had lots of conversations over the year. Look up the name, amazing individual, literally brought clay target shooting, sporting clays specifically to the United States. And what he said was, he said, "Look, Tim, I can't talk like he did. He had a beautiful, beautiful accent." And it was interesting. He said, "It's like eating a meal. It's like eating a 10-course meal." And at the time, there used to be basically 10 stations back in the 90s. That's what we had. And then we graduated to 12, 13, 14, 15, depending on the size of the tournament. Anyway, he said, every course should be different, Tim. Every course should taste different. And which stuck with me to this day. And you have to be different from stand to stand to stand to stand. And the way we do that, Jeff, I have a grading system that just naturally developed in my civil background. And that is, we basically have a 20-yard line from the stand, a 40-yard line from the stand, a 60-yard line from the stand. And then that's basically has a perpendicular line from the center of the stand out. So you end up with 6 quadrants, left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so we actually geographically measure and grade every course that we set. And so how that works is we try not to keep any more. If you have 24 machines on a course, okay, we try not to have any more than 4 in any one quadrant ever. And that's going to give you your diversity no matter what. And then you have to set to the environment. That's not always the case to keep it that balanced, but that's the intent. That's the baseline, if you will. And then it works from there depending on what the environment gives you. And we hide everything here in Tucson. And that's one thing that you don't really get to see. We don't have a lot of elevation change. We have roughly 62 feet of elevation change from one end of the course to the other, but we don't have that all in one place like a lot of places do. So what do? We hide a lot of machines. So I would say we do it with our philosophy, given a 20 to 55 yard parameter. Obviously, the wind's going to change that a bit at times. We do it with profile, and we do it with basically angles, distance, diversity. That doesn't mean distance and edge. It means distance diversity, which means between that 20 and 55 yards. So.
Love that, Tim. So let me throw a couple other variables in there. When you're starting shooting at 8 in the morning and the last rotation's finishing at 5, the sun's got to play a part too, right? I mean, there's a lot of variables going on. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate, Jeff. I was fortunate enough to do the design here in Tucson, and we shoot 95% of our targets to the north. I'm not sure if there's another club in the United States or even in the world that does that. And that's typically because of the size and the space that you actually have to do what we do. So we shoot 95% of our stuff to the north. So when you're a target setter and you're trying to build your craft and give everybody what we call fair opportunity. It's the third piece in that. Everybody gets a fair go, always. Well, that's also happens from the time it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning in Tucson, anyhow, until 5:30 at night or 6. And everybody has to have the fair go, no matter what time of day it is. And so we're fortunate, very fortunate, to be able to say that 95% of our stuff will never, ever be sun affected. So that 5%, keep it low, just saying.
I like that so much, Tim. I mean, even this weekend, I shot the Super Sport and the main event sporting. And what I noticed the quadrants. I knew the left to rights, right to lefts, quartering birds. I noticed that my gun was out of position a lot for that second target, and I think that's happening more and more, compared to 10 or 15 years ago. But the targets were great, and I think they're going to be unbelievable next month.
Yeah, I will tell you, not my norm to do that to a shooter. I'm more of a reward setter, which means you kill the first one in the right spot, the second one is right there. That's more of my style. But because we see what you just described, we see it a lot where target setters are, for whatever reason, putting guys high to low, not as much low to high because that's normal, but far left to far right. I mean, just all of that stuff, 35 degrees to 15 degrees. And so for me, that's not my norm. And you saw it, believe it or not, I'm a stats guy, right? You saw it on out of the basically the 22 stations that you shot. Okay. You had that out of 22. Now keep in mind, you only had that 6 times. Okay. Cause I'm a stats guy. I try not to overdo it, but I will tell you that everybody that comes here and shoots, they come here and shoot for usually 3 different reasons. One, happens to be close. It's in, within a couple, 3 hours, they come and shoot. Second is they're prepping for, to travel and do that kind of thing, or just for that 3 or 4 shoots they may do throughout the year, and they want to prep for that. And I would be not a great range owner if I didn't give them what they're going to go see. And so, again, one of the things I tell people all the time, they go, what is the best thing that you do? And I would say that we prep. So that's probably the number one piece to it, for sure.
Oh, I love it. Just a kind of side note, Tim, it was a couple of years ago. I had been traveling on the East Coast, and I came back and I asked you to set some orange targets in the air because, it's hard to find orange targets in the air, especially on a true pair. You shoot one, then you're looking for the other one. And the only reason we did it was because that's what we see on other grounds.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, about that. And in 2012, I did a video that I put out to the NSCA, gave it to them, and it was literally on that subject, which was colors and what's the best color for your background. And that's your call as a target setter. You need to figure out what's the best, okay? Not what's the easiest, not can I go out and buy all OD targets and throw OD on everything, because at the end of the day, it's 40% smaller in the orange size, okay, to a full orange top. To an OD, It's 40% smaller. So guess what that target looks like at 35 or 40 yards? It looks smaller. So my suggestion to anybody, and what we do here, we're fortunate though, right? We have blue sky all the time. Black works great, but we do have to have some diversity. So we do throw some orange, not very much green, a little pink here and there. But no matter where you are, you're going to get that orange target probably in the sky. It's going to be a little difficult to see and all that. But here's what happens. As a shooter, I'll get this question, how do I prep for Tucson? It's like prepping for anything else. Okay? You think of all the things that can happen and you do the best you can do to emulate that prior to getting there, right? Because the last thing you want to do is get there and be freaked out. Because when you get there and freaked out, that causes all kinds of things to go wrong. I'll get the question also where someone will say, well, how do you make your courses harder for the competitions? I don't. The shooter makes it harder, not me. As
Right.
soon as you throw a tee in front of an event, which is a tournament, it's a whole different guy. It's a completely different dude that shows up from practice to a tournament. And I can't tell you why, but I will tell you the best way to handle that is you come prepared. Don't freak out. I promise you, you're going to have a curveball thrown at you. Relax, stay present, look at the target. You just described it, orange in the sky, right? Not the greatest thing to happen, in my opinion, right?
Right.
But you see it. You see it all the time
Absolutely.
because it looks good to some guys. And some guys can't see it at all. Ryan Holmes, he can't see it. Flat can't see it. You know what color it is for Ryan? An orange in the sky?
What?
It's dark gray.
Dark. Yeah.
Dark gray. He's colorblind. Okay.
Right.
And so there's that guy, right? So I think the deal with what you described is you come prepared, right? You came back, you said, "Hey, Tim, I had to shoot this orange bird in the sky. I couldn't see it. Well, learn how to see it." I mean, take Brad, for instance. When you complain to Brad, what's Brad tell you?
Deal with it.
Fix it, dude. Suck it up, buttercup, right? I hear it all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just love this discussion, Tim. And when we do an interview about your career, we'll talk a little bit more about this. But I wanted to touch on one other thing to anybody that's watching this, that's coming to the desert. What are your thoughts on hydration?
Yeah, so we have a few things that are very prevalent here. Even if it rains here, the humidity goes away in a hurry. So you're going to not feel the moisture leaving your body. It's going to evaporate very quickly. And so you have to stay hydrated. And you'll feel whether you're not hydrated or not, as long as you pay attention, as long as you stay present. And so what I would tell people is don't oversaturate your body with water, but don't become dehydrated either. So you need to know what that is and know what it is before you get here. Don't just decide that, oh, I have to start drinking water here, because now you've changed the way that you are. So prior to getting here, start drinking whatever you're drinking now. Drink maybe one glass or 2 glasses full. I'm not a fan of bottled water anymore. So I would say we call them glasses now, like we used to. And so drink 16 ounces of water, more than you normally drink right now as you're coming here. So staying hydrated is a big deal, but also staying nourished, right? Because when you get dehydrated, then your body eats all the nourishment and all the nutrients that are in your body, they eat them up too. So I don't know that you can actually overhydrate, but I do believe that you could saturate, which is a bad deal. Okay. So that's the big thing, I think, is stay hydrated, always pay attention, stay present in the environment that you're in at the time, no matter if it's here or somewhere else.
Great advice, Tim. I mean, it's so easy to come into a tournament. Like you said, put the tea in front and things change. You forget to drink. And by the time you think you're dehydrated, it's too late. And so I think that's really important. You can't emphasize that enough. Tim, I want to thank you for this little preview. Thanks for joining me on Shoot from the Hoop, little preview of the Western Regional coming up in Tucson, Arizona. How many shooters do you think will end up?
Yeah, so right now we're close to 700 right now.
Okay.
We're one of the very few tournaments. The main event pays $100 back to class per entry, which should average out somewhere with the guaranteed monies, paying over $100,000 just for the main event. And how does that work? Well, master through Delta class, first, second, and third are 1,000, 750, and 500 in those 3 classes.
Wow.
Then it goes to pro class, and pro class starts at 7,500 for first, 7,000 for second, and 6,500 for third. And if you happen to come in third overall in the tournament, you're going to win $7,500. And if you come in second, it's $10,000. And if you happen to be that guy at the top, you're going to win $20,000 at the regional here in Tucson. And we're super excited about that. And some people they say, how can you do that? And so I will tell you that the game deserves it. The shooters deserve it. The clubs deserve it. Why can Tucson do it? Because we're committed to clay target shooting as the first and foremost thing. Second is we've taken roughly in this particular location, I guess that would be, so we started in 73 here, Sporting Clays roughly in, say, 2000. So we've been 26 years building. So I would say that we can do it because we have a facility. We've had a few benefactors, the Martin family. Carla Baber has helped tremendously. There's been several others that have put a lot into this club. So we can do it because we continue to build the facility. We do the best we can to give the shooters opportunity to shoot clay targets, whether that is sporting clays, whether that's FITASC, whether that's 5-stand, trapped skeet, international bunker, and compact. And so all of those things play into it. So the Western Regional is probably one of a kind right now where it sits. Probably overall will pay out well past $200,000 in payouts. So I would encourage anybody to come out. We got as high as 750, and then there's that deadline to get your refund, if you will. I think we dropped to 650, and now we're approaching 700 again. A lot of stuff opened up, and I think FITASC is still pretty much full except for Monday. But all in all, it's going to be a super cool event. We're excited to host people and show them what our little playground's all about.
It's an incredible destination for shooting. It's like Disney World for shooters, kind of. It's unbelievable. Hey, Tim, I just thought of something. When I take my Polaris out there, how many miles of roads are there among the 5 courses?
Yeah, so plus the 5 courses plus the where the FITASC will be this year is there's 10 miles of Sporting Clays course. Yeah. And right now, I believe there's I think I have 62 stations set up right now. And there's 2 full super sports at the moment. Green and orange are both set as super sports. And then we have the red, white, and blue, which are sporting courses, 12 stations each. Every one of those 62 are covered right now with an 18 by 18 shade cover. It's pretty cool.
I was going to say, people are going to be loving that, Tim. That's great. Thank you for doing that. I've been watching that progress since summertime, and it's quite a project, everything about it.
We were at it for quite a while, and they're well built, trust me.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, thank you again for joining me. I know everybody's looking forward to coming into Tucson and making their way over to Coyote Springs Sporting Clays for the Western Regional for 2026. Thank you again for joining me.
You bet. Thank you, Jeff, for putting this on and taking the time to interview me and promoting the Western Regional, because it's just another stepping stone in the ability to shoot the tour, and we enjoy it, and we are looking forward to having the people show up and have a great time.
Absolutely. And to all of our listeners out there, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please give us a 5-star rating, or even better yet, leave a comment or 2. And if you're watching on YouTube, by all means, become a subscriber. I'll continue to do everything I can to bring leaders in sporting clays and FITASC to shoot from the hoop. Tim, it's just an honor and a privilege to interview you today. Thanks again. And I look forward to seeing you this weekend.
You bet. Take care. Love you, Jeff.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.